I said, are we ready for your next act, guys? Yes? Please make some noise for the fabulous Marsha Courneya!
Hello, good evening. My name is Marsha, and I'm not just single, I am fully detached, both emotionally and from reality. So that means I spend a lot of my time fantasizing. And it's great. It's just like directing a movie in your head, only your casting budget is unlimited and you do not have to hire an intimacy coordinator. I spend a lot of time watching old movies. Stuff from the 30s to the 50s is my favorite, and I know some people can't get into them, and I understand that. Old movies can be very confusing. The credits are at the beginning instead of the end. They're in black and white, and all of the hot people in them are long dead. But there are a lot of hot dead people in these old movies. Like, I'll watch anything with Burt Lancaster in it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you know, he's that big burly guy from that scandalous scene in From Here to Eternity where it's just him and Deborah Kerr rolling around on the beach while the surf pounds them. Yeah, it's good. And so Burt Lancaster, he was buff before it was an expectation in Hollywood for men. He wasn't, counting macros with a trainer or anything. He was just swinging from a trapeze by one hand and smoking a cigarette with the other. And he lived till he was 80, so he didn't do the considerate thing and die frozen in an image of his prime. And that meant that I had to look up photos of him to decide the exact age where I thought he stopped being bangable. I landed on about 79. But there are logistical issues when it comes to fantasizing about dead people. When someone's alive, they might be totally out of reach, a celebrity, but you could imagine maybe one day brushing hands with them over an apple at Whole Foods. But if I want to think about Burt Lancaster, I have to start every fantasy with either a time machine or a shovel. It does get lonely, being fully detached. And I know guys have some strategies to deal with it, like they'll lie on one arm until it goes numb. The Sleeping Beauty. Well, I have one of those, but it's called the Sleeping Body. You know when you get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and you leave all the lights off because you don't want to wake yourself up too much? Well, when I get back into the room and it's still dark and I get under the covers and I can't see anything, it's kind of like the warmth that I left behind is the warmth of another person waiting for me there. And it is sad, yes. But I think there's a difference between poetic sad and pathetic sad. Poetic sad is yearning for the warmth of another person. Pathetic sad is cutting off your circulation and the approximation of the touch of another person. Poetic sad is the musicians on the Titanic continuing to play on the deck while the ship is sinking. Pathetic sad is me, a grown woman, reading Titanic fan fiction online to find out exactly how the car got all steamy. So dead people in disaster fiction are not the only things that get me going. Sometimes I will go out into the real world in search of romance. So I was walking home alone after dark recently in a shady area. Discarded nitrous cans littering the floor. I was just like tiptoeing through the whippets. And I saw the most incredible thing. And I'm no peeping Tom, but there was a low-rise apartment building with just a parking lot around it, totally bare of foliage, like it had just been waxed and was expecting company. And so I had this perfect vantage point of this one lit up window on the ground floor, and the shade was pulled a little bit down, so there was this perfect 16:9 aspect ratio framing a beautiful man's chest and pair of arms with a tight t-shirt stretched over the biceps. And I couldn't see his face, but I saw his hands. They were working really hard. He was washing dishes in front of an open window like a total slut. And so I just stood there, mesmerized, transfixed by this extremely erotic image. And I stood there for way too long, I'm sure. And I heard a noise, a car was coming suddenly, so I just ran. And luckily I was wearing a skirt that day, so there was no chance of me tripping on my pants pulled around my ankles. I was just running. With my hands in sterile doctor position as if that would be less suspicious. But maybe that's why they call it a peeping Tom and not a peeping Tammy, because if you're wearing a skirt, you can make a really quick getaway. And I did get away with it this time, which is what I also say to myself after every time I shoplift. Fantasizing is just simpler. All I have to do is close my eyes and pick up my shovel. No, get in my time machine. And suddenly, I'm a key witness in a murder case under the protection of Detective Burt Lancaster. And we're on the run because my life is in danger. And we have to stop at a seedy motel for the night. And oh no, there's only one room left. And gee golly, that room only has one bed in it. And it's the 1940s, so ethics is still just a little known branch of philosophy for nerds. Fantasizing is a lot safer too, because sex in real life can be very risky. Involving a second person usually ruins it. Trying to bring someone else into your fantasies is like forcing them into one of those recurring nightmares where they're suddenly in a play on opening night and they don't know any of the lines. So they're just standing there, naked, under hot lights, saying things like, "Oh, why does your dress have so many buttons? Haven't you ever heard of Velcro?" That's not the line. That's not the line. But I'm not going to feed them any of the lines because that defeats the whole purpose. At least with a nightmare, you can wake up and snap right out of it. But after a failed sexual encounter, you kind of just have to lie there and try to renormalize things with chit-chat. Like, so, come here often? I don't. Thank you very much.
Guys, give it up for Marsha!